The afternoon sunlight spilled through the kitchen window as I helped set the table for Melanie's engagement brunch, just like I had done for every major family event since I was old enough to reach the plates. The air buzzed with laughter, clinking glasses, and the clatter of excitement that only surrounded one person in our family, Melanie. She had always been the golden child. You know the type. Straight teeth, shiny hair, laughed at Dad's jokes, cried when Mom told heartfelt stories. She was the dream daughter they prayed for, and apparently, I was just the one who showed up in the background. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video. From childhood, the favoritism was subtle but constant. When Melanie wanted ballet lessons, she got them. When I asked for a sketch pad, they said crayons were enough. When she scraped her knee, they rushed with band-aids and kisses. When I broke my arm falling off my bike, my mom said, "You shouldn't have been showing off." The pattern was so consistent, it started to feel like maybe I was the problem. Maybe I really was the less exciting one, the less lovable one, the one they just tolerated. But I didn't waste time feeling sorry for myself. While Melanie chased Instagram-worthy boyfriends and bounced from job to job, I studied hard, worked part-time jobs, skipped vacations, and eventually launched my own interior design business out of a shoebox-sized studio apartment. Every inch of that space I made beautiful with my own hands. I picked up secondhand furniture, repainted old chairs, and hustled until I had a waiting list of clients. No handouts, no starter fund, no family connections. Just me. But still, to my parents, I was just doing fine. No framed photo on the living room mantel. No dinner to celebrate my first office lease. Not even a proud post on Facebook. And now, here we were, Melanie's engagement brunch. The whole dining room had been transformed into a magazine spread. Gold-rimmed glasses, white lilies, and an oversized "She Said Yes" sign that screamed privilege. My mother was practically floating around the room in excitement. My father beamed like he'd just been told he was going to meet the president. Me? I sat in a corner chair near the kitchen entrance, trying to stay present without making myself too visible. I had gotten good at that over the years. Then came the moment. My dad tapped his glass, the chatter died down, and he launched into a dramatic speech about how proud they were of Melanie, how she deserved the best, how she had waited for the right man, and now they wanted to set her up for her next chapter. That's when my mom came in, carrying a small velvet box. "Sweetheart," she said, tears in her eyes, "your father and I wanted your new journey to begin with stability, comfort, and love. So we've bought you and Daniel a house, a beautiful one, on Rosewood Lane." The room erupted in gasps and applause. Melanie shrieked, jumping out of her seat as Daniel wrapped his arms around her. My mom beamed as she handed over the key, wrapped in a satin ribbon. I clapped, slowly. My heart was thudding, but my face didn't show it. I'd gotten good at that too. No one looked at me. No one asked what I thought. They were too busy celebrating, and I didn't want to be the one who made it awkward. And then, as if it were an afterthought, my mom turned to me. "Oh, and we didn't forget about you, honey." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small flat box, half the size of Melanie's key box. "This is for you," she said sweetly. I opened it, hoping for something, anything. Inside was a silver picture frame. Empty. "A frame," I said softly, unable to meet her eyes. "Isn't it beautiful? So elegant," she said proudly. "You can put one of your client project photos in it, or maybe a picture of you and someone special when the time comes." I looked at Melanie, now twirling with her house key like she'd won a jackpot, and then down at the empty frame. I suddenly felt so small, so stupid for even hoping. Later that night, I went home to my one-bedroom apartment above a bakery that always smelled like burnt croissants. I sat on the edge of my bed, holding the frame in my lap. I couldn't even cry. I was just numb. I looked around at the life I had built by myself. Every success, every dollar, every dream I'd turned into reality, and still they saw me as less. But that moment, that hollow, heartbreaking moment became my turning point. I stood up, placed the frame on the shelf, still empty, and whispered to myself, "They may not see me now, but they will." I didn't want revenge. I wanted something better. I wanted to build something so powerful, so undeniably impressive that even they couldn't ignore me. I would rise without their help. I would create a legacy that no wedding gift or ribbon-wrapped key could match. And this time, I wouldn't just build for clients. I would build for me. It started with sleepless nights, scribbled plans, and an obsession to grow beyond recognition. That evening after the brunch, I sat at my tiny desk in my tiny apartment with the empty picture frame staring back at me like a challenge. I opened my laptop, poured myself a glass of cheap wine, and mapped out the boldest plan I had ever made. I was going to build something they could never take credit for, something they could never claim was because of their support. I was going to create a home, a life, a legacy entirely on my own terms. I doubled my hours, took risks on high-end projects, and expanded into luxury real estate staging. I partnered with a rising architect and launched a design agency that blended art, function, and storytelling. My work began appearing in magazines. Celebrities reached out. Influencers wanted collaborations. One of my home designs even made it onto the cover of an international lifestyle magazine. The woman once given a picture frame now had an entire wall of framed covers and achievements. And yet, I never invited them to see it. Years passed. Melanie moved into her Rosewood Lane home. Her perfect marriage slowly dulled into something that looked good only in social media posts. My parents still beamed over her smallest achievements. Meanwhile, I silently bought my first building, a duplex on a quiet corner in a bustling city district. It was mine. Every tile, every lamp, every beam of light. I chose it all. I lived in one half and rented out the other. I hosted events, created spaces for creatives and single women like me to gather, support, and grow. I didn't just build a home. I built a movement. One day, I got a call. It was Melanie. Her voice trembled as she explained how things weren't going well. Daniel had lost his job, the house was draining them financially, and she didn't know who to turn to. That familiar pang rose in my chest, the instinct to help, to fix, to give, but I held it back. "I'm really sorry, Mel," I said quietly. "That sounds really hard." She didn't ask for help directly, but I could feel the unspoken request hanging in the silence. I didn't fill it. I didn't offer, because I was tired of giving when no one ever gave back. 2 weeks later, my parents reached out, not to check on me, of course, but to ask for a favor. My dad's business was struggling. They had invested heavily in something that collapsed, and their retirement plans were slipping through their fingers. "We're thinking of selling the lake house," he said. "It's just too much right now." "I understand," I replied. "If you're looking for a buyer, I may be interested." The silence on the other end was thick. He hadn't expected that. "You?" my mother asked. "Yes, I've done quite well for myself," I said plainly. "I've been investing too." They came to visit a week later. For the first time in nearly a decade, they stepped into my world, the design studio with the city skyline view, the team who greeted me with admiration, the home that radiated warmth and purpose. They stood in my foyer, staring at the custom art, the curated lighting, the elegance that I had built without their money, their praise, or their belief in me. It was undeniable now. I wasn't doing fine. I was thriving. Over dinner, my mom reached into her bag and pulled out a photo. "It's us," she said, "from your high school graduation. We thought maybe you'd want to put it in the frame we gave you." I smiled. A small, calm smile. "I actually filled that frame already," I said, "with something that means a lot to me." They looked confused. I walked over to the shelf and handed them the frame. Inside was a photo of the ribbon-cutting ceremony for my new community center, a space I had built for underprivileged young girls to learn design, art, and entrepreneurship. The caption underneath read, "For every girl told she wasn't enough." My father stared at it silently. My mother blinked back something she didn't say. And I felt no rage, no bitterness, only clarity. I had stopped building for their approval a long time ago. I had built for me, and the life I created was one they would never be invited to shape again. As they left that evening, I watched them walk away from my world, the one they never helped build, never believed in, never saw coming. And that empty space they left behind, I didn't fill it with longing. I filled it with peace, because sometimes the greatest gift your family can give you is nothing at all. It forces you to create everything.